everyone, and welcome to Worth It or Not Reviews, where I'm going to be answering the simple question: is Middle-earth Shadows of Mordor worth it or not? Worth your time, worth your money, and more importantly, worth the effort? Let's sit down, stick around, and answer that simple question. Okay, firstly I'd say if you've never watched a Wii On review before, this is more, there's not going to be a scoring system at the end of this. This is just going to be my overall enjoyment of the game and what type of people I think might like this game. But we're going to go with the usual, I think it's like 3 or 4 criteria as we normally go. We go with story, graphics, gameplay, and overall enjoyment of the game. Firstly, we'll start with the story. The story is that you play a ranger of Gondor by the name of Talion, who is a guard of the Black Gate. And at the start of the game, this is not a spoiler. It's been in all the trailers. If you haven't watched it, it may be considered a minor spoiler. But at the start of the game, he's at the gates of he's at the Black Gate, and we learn a little bit about his backstory, that he was a well-respected fighter in Gondor until he killed a noble person, and resulted in him and his family being sent to the Black Wall, Black Gate. Sorry, Black Wall's from Dragon Age, and. Basically, what happens is the Black Gate is completely invaded, and for anyone who if you don't know whether this game is set in the Middle-earth timeline, it's set after The Hobbit and before The Lord of the Rings. No exact dates given, but that's just given to us. And the Black Gate is attacked by the various different types of guard from Sauron: the Black Hand of Sauron, the Tower of Sauron, and the Hammer of Sauron are the 3 that attack. And due to this, Talion and his family are killed. And Talion is brought back from the dead by a wraith, the fictional creatures and the creatures in the world that in some way, shape, or form have an affinity for the ring. And he's brought back by a very special wraith known as Celebrimbor, who, if you're unfamiliar with the Lord of the Rings lore, he's basically the person who created the rings of power for the entire races, elves, dwarves, and humans. And with Sauron's influence, finished forging the One Ring, the master ring of them all. And basically, Celebrimbor has no memory of who he is or where he came from, and throughout the story you figure out, but the whole purpose of the story is that Talion wants revenge on the people that kill his family. He wants revenge on the Tower, the Hammer, and more importantly, the Black Hand of Sauron. These are the 3 people that he wants to kill, and throughout the story you'll interact with various different characters, including some humans who are outcasts in Mordor, who have lived in Mordor for generations, and also a hunter. You'll encounter different people throughout the story, including some Uruk-hai. And really, I can't go into too much else. We're going into spoilers, and this is going to be the spoiler-free part of the review. But overall, how is the story? The story is average. While it is enjoyable, it does have some entertainment. For me personally, I like a good story. The story starts off strong with the whole interest of Celebrimbor. Why has he been brought back? Why is he here? And it gets interesting with that when you learn a little bit more about Mordor, because Mordor, while we know a little bit about it, well, me personally, I didn't know too much about what Mordor was beyond the place where Sauron is. And I like to learn a little bit about Mordor, and also Uruk-hai culture. You did learn a little bit about that in the story, but there's just quite a few missed opportunities, in my opinion. To say, I'm just going to keep forcing my phone on silent. For adding a bit of an interest to the story. It does grip you for the first half of the story. Like, the first 2 arcs are actually really interesting, and the characters you interact with are very entertaining, and they always add their own little flair to it. And of course, with the story, what's a story without good voice acting? The voice acting cast in this does an excellent job. We've got Troy Baker, Claudia Black, Jennifer Hale for a little bit, the Turian council member, whose name of the actor I can't remember, sorry. We even have Nolan North in here. We've got quite a star-studded cast of voice actors, and they all do an exceptional job. They all do absolutely brilliantly, and I gotta give them major props for delivering this. But where the story falls apart is towards the final act, the final build-up to the last battle, And really, as I say, without going into spoilers, it's just a bit underwhelming for me personally. There is also a little bit of a story with the Nemesis system, and I'll talk about more of that in the gameplay aspects. But so there's a little bit of story of that, but I'll talk about that in the gameplay. But overall, the story is enjoyable, but overall it's a bit lackluster. It was not as good as it could have been, and they missed a lot of opportunities to maybe explore the Sorry, I got hair in my eye. Explore the realm of Mordor a little bit more, and maybe explore a little bit more about what the area's like and the culture of the Uruk-hai, that kind of thing. And while they do explore that in some instances, they still have a bit of missed opportunity where you don't interact. The only Uruk-hai you really interact with and talk to without killing them or trying to take control of them is a guy called Ratbag. And you only interact with him for a very short amount of time, and any other Uruk-hai you interact with is they're out to kill you. You don't interact with any good Uruk-hai, which, is there a good Uruk-hai? But I think there was a missed opportunity where they could have maybe showed that maybe not all Uruk-hai are bloodthirsty creatures, but that's me deciding the point. I always look for the silver lining and everything. So let's move on to graphics. I'm not a graphic person. As long as the game's enjoyable and decent to look at, I don't mind. The graphics of Shadows of Mordor, I'm getting rid of that fucking plastic case because it's absolutely bugging the hell out of me. The graphics of Shadow of Mordor overall are beautiful. The terrain, especially, and the environments of Mordor feel alive. They look absolutely glorious. Even the Uruk-hai look absolutely beautiful. They look disgustingly beautiful. That's the best way I can put it. And the detail in there is very well done. The foliage, the sky, the areas around you, it looks beautiful. Even most of the character models look great as well, except for one. Talion. Talion looks like a plastic doll. For me personally. He looks a bit plastic for me personally. And I don't know, I have no evidence of this, but it looks like he was the last character model made, if you get my drift. It feels like that. Like they didn't put as much effort into his character model as they did the others. And also, I'd be remiss if I didn't talk about this as well. Talion has a very Aragorn feel to him. He feels a bit like Aragorn in a way. It's difficult to describe this. I do not know the Lord of the Rings lore as well as most people, but he just has that feel about him that they tried to make Aragorn and just twisted it a little bit, made it a little bit different. Talion is his own character in his own way, but he looks a bit like Aragorn, and he acts a little bit like Aragorn in some instances. And I think that may have been due to the fact that maybe Warner Bros. Wanted in some way, shape or form to play one of the characters from the Lord of the Rings movies. But I don't know, it's just me personally, he looks a little bit like Aragorn, acts a little bit like him. I don't know if it's just me, but it's tough to say. I don't know. It really comes down to how you perceive it. But to me, he looks like Aragorn. I mean, even like that, he looks a little bit like Aragorn. But he just looks a little plastic to me personally. That's just me. I now move on to the gameplay. Firstly, of course, I gotta say this right now. A lot of people are calling this Assassin's Creed Middle-earth. That's not the case. This game does not really play like an Assassin's Creed game. It has a mixture of some elements from Assassin's Creed, but not a lot. And this isn't... While this game does have some kind of stealth elements into it, it doesn't really compare to some Assassin's Creed stealth elements. The game that it mimics the most is Arkham City. And give me one moment. I hate this fucking webcam sometimes. Configure. Turn off autofocus. Save. The game that it implements and mimics the most is Batman Arkham City, or the Arkham series in general, with its free-flowing combat. And a lot of games have tried to mimic that combat and never succeeded, in my opinion. They may have done an okay job in it, but Shadows of Mordor actually takes that system and adds a little bit to it. You're actually wielding swords in this game, so you're killing things. And they add their own little flair to it with the Wraith ability. He's able to stun, dominate, brand, explode heads, shockwaves, that kind of thing. They mimic the Arkham combat system very well while adding their own little flavour to it. It's still not as good as the Arkham combat system. I'm saying that right now because the Arkham combat series, Arkham combat style is free-flowing combat is just perfect for me. I love that system. Mordor, it feels a bit more clunky than the Arkham one, and they were trying to mimic it. You can blatantly tell that they're trying to mimic it, but they don't have the right sense of it. It still works. It still works to the best of its ability. It has combinations, your executions, your brandings, your stuns, your extra damages, your things like that. It has that, but it just doesn't have the best combat. It still felt a bit clunky, and when I countered, which is a single button press, it did something. About 8 out of 10 times it responded. Every 2 out of 10 times it didn't respond, which I don't know why. But it worked out to the best of its ability, in my opinion. It was okay. It worked well. It worked for the game. It works fine. The stealth element of the game is functional. It does do the job properly. It has a couple of problems, in my opinion. It tries to go with the whole, like, the icon system, where if it's yellow, they suspect you there. If it's red, they've seen you. And there are some missions in the game which stealth is the thing you have to do. If you don't do stealth, you'll fail the mission, basically. And while and sometimes it's just a bit unfair in some instances for me personally. I'm completely in stealth. I get around a corner when someone sees me. I wait for them to come to me, and I'm trying to stealth kill them around the corner, and they see me, but I kill them, and then all of a sudden the alarm's raised. There's some major problems with the stealth system in this one, but it is functional, and it is a bit frustrating, but overall it is enjoyable. And now the main draw, of course, to Shadows of Mordor was the Nemesis system, which is, if you're unaware what that was, basically in this game there is a hierarchy of Urukai. There's the captains, the elite captains, the big captains. I can't remember the overall. I think that there's the captains. The first two, basically there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 rows. I think. Let's see, war chiefs. I think 3 or 4 rows of basically ranks in the Urukai system, and the ones at the top are the war chiefs. They're the big cheeses. They're the bosses. The rest of the Urukai do as they say, no questions asked. And then below them is the elite ones, basically the bodyguards of the captains of the war chiefs. And then there's the captains and the captains. Those other ones, and these are special Urukai. These ones have more health and abilities compared to the standard Urukais. They will actually be immune to certain attacks. They will be weak against certain attacks. They will have fears. They will have instant kill situations. And the whole way it works is that if you interact with any of these and you can kill them for the first 2 quarters of the game, your really only option is to kill them or let them run away. And how the system works is, if you kill them, they're dead, and then someone else takes their place. Or if they get away from you, like they run away like the cowards that they are, and you let them get away, they'll actually remember you the next time you interact with them, and they'll remember the fact that they ran away. And that will change their ability, or they make them stronger or weaker. And that's how it works in a way. And also, if one of them happens to kill you, and in this game if you die, it isn't just game over, restart. Time advances in this world as you're dead, and the Nemesis system adapts, and that Urukai who killed you will move up in the ranks and gain more power, but will also become your Nemesis. This will be the Urukai that you will be after. It becomes a revenge target, and you can either leave him alone or go after him. But there are also little side missions in the world that are directly influenced by the Nemesis system, in which if you go and do them, a certain Urukai might be trying to gain more power, and your options at that point are to either go and kill him, or let him succeed in his task, help him in his task, and get his strength up higher and higher, because the higher up they are, the stronger they are, and the more... and as the strength increases, they become more powerful, they get more abilities, they become more stronger, but they'll still have the same weaknesses, and more importantly, they will remember you. And they become revenge targets, which if you go and kill this revenge target, it will get you a more powerful ruin, which is the little something you can add to your weapons, your blade, your bow, and your dagger, that will increase things like a 95% chance of recovering an arrow, or a 25% chance of regaining health, that kind of thing. And that's how it really works through the Nemesis system. I'd say your whole purpose within the game is to really, the first half of the game is to eliminate the war chiefs. That's your first half. That's the first half of the game, is to eliminate the war chiefs, and then you get the ability to dominate the Urukai, or your enemies, which allows you to basically take control of their mind and order them to do stuff. And this was where the nemesis system really opens up, in my opinion. This is where it opens up to the point in which it is much more fun, because instead of trying to kill as many of these characters as possible, these Urukai captains and all that, and these war chiefs, your whole goal is to dominate them and make them yours. So, for example, one of the ones that kept on killing me was a guy called Hothead. No, it wasn't Hot. It was Swift Feet. That was his name. And he just kept killing me every time I was going after him, to the point in which he became pretty much the most powerful Urukai there, but he wasn't a war chief. So what I did was I went to him, and I planned this out. I made certain Urukai go to him, and then I managed to get him down to low enough level where I could grab him and then dominate him. And then I made him then I commanded him to go and infiltrate a war chief's bodyguard, in which he had to go and do a wee side mission to do a little recruitment thing, something wee sell thing along those lines. And then he became a bodyguard, and then I went to him again, and I commanded him to betray the war chief, and then when I went there, I killed the war chief, and then Swift Feet became the war chief, and he was mine. And that's how I did most of the war chief things, as I basically built up I picked one of the Urukais on the nemesis system, either at the bottom or the top, or one that had killed me previously, and I built him up over and over and over to get his power level high enough that he could kill the war chief. And that's what I did. I got an entirely new set of war chiefs to basically command the armies of Mordor, and that's how I did it. That nemesis system is really well flushed out and very entertaining, especially when you get that satisfaction of building a particular Urukai up to the point in which they become war chief, and they are now yours, basically. I absolutely loved that, and that was really, really fun. The nemesis system is a definitely well flushed out system, and there are some hiccups with it, I'm not going to lie, as it is the power struggle missions, which the missions are that you use to basically build up strength or go after the captains like this. You know they're going to be there. The only problem I have with those ones is that a lot of them are extremely repetitive, which is a major problem for me. There really are only maybe 4 different types. There's the duels, feasts, execution, hunts, and power-up area 1. I can't remember what it's called exactly, but there are only really 5 types, and they always repeat over and over again, in my opinion. And it is a bit annoying, but I kind of get where they were going with. They couldn't exactly have an infinite amount of possibilities, so I get it, it's okay. But the nemesis system is probably the biggest appeal, in my opinion, to Shadows of Mordor, and they implemented it very well and did an excellent job with it, in my opinion. And I'm trying to think if there's anything else I can say about the gameplay beyond it's enjoyable. It works fine. There are a couple of hiccups, but what game doesn't have them? And overall, I actually didn't come across any bugs during my playthrough of this. I came across some, like, he floated for a bit, then he fell, but I think maybe 1 or 2 bugs, but no game-breaking bugs. So the game is very well put together, and no bugs, not that many bugs so far. Now we'll move on to my enjoyment of the game. How much did I enjoy the game? Now, let me just clarify, this is my completely biased opinion on this, by the way. For me, the enjoyment of a game comes from the story. The story is the biggest advocate for enjoyment for me when it comes to the game. After that, it's probably gameplay. And the gameplay in this game is extremely enjoyable. I had a lot of fun doing it, and the nemesis system just made things really, really enjoyable, in my opinion. But that was all brought down by the story. While the first two quarters of the game, 3 quarters of the game are really entertaining, really fun, really well thought out, and I loved them. They were enjoyable. It's the final act of the game that lets the story down, and in my opinion, the ending is something in a game that has to live up to what you've been building up to. And the ending of this game, without going into spoilers, I personally did not enjoy it. I didn't like the final act of this game. It just was not enjoyable, in my opinion. I did not like it. I can't say much else beyond that, but the story dragged down my enjoyment of this game. to the point in which I was really hoping to maybe have a new game plus mode, or maybe play a little bit more of the game afterwards. But after the story was done, I was kind of like, well, I'm done. I don't want to play it anymore, because that's how, for me personally, that's how the ending felt to me, at least, if you want me to be honest. But yeah, I'll answer the question now. Is Middle-earth Shadows of Mordor worth it? In all honesty, for me personally, while I did enjoy the game, I had a lot of fun, and I do feel I got my money's worth. But there is one thing I have to say that kind of drags down the worth it, in my opinion, and that is the story. It just did not live up to the hype which it was building up to, and especially the ending, in my opinion, really dragged it down. And while, as I said, I had fun playing this game, I really did enjoy it. I'm going to answer, this is a double, I'm going to answer basically to it. For me personally, now do understand, I am a story gamer. I love a good story, and story is really important for me when it comes to a game. Even the gameplay comes second to that. For me personally, I have to be honest, while I enjoyed this game and had an absolute blast, for a story-based gamer, like myself, this game is not worth it at the moment, I have to be honest. And just the story is a major letdown, in my opinion, especially towards the end. While it's good for the first 3/4 of the game, and it really builds up to it, just that final part of the story and the ending just let it down immensely, in my opinion. And I have to be honest, it just did not make it worth it. I didn't get that sense of, oh, that was awesome. And I have to be honest, for a story-based gamer like myself, I would definitely say wait for the price of this game to go down a little bit. It is not worth picking up at the moment. However, I am going to say that for a gameplay aspect, from the Nemesis system, I would say that if you're mostly a gameplay person and you're not too interested in the story and you want a good system, like the Nemesis system is so well implemented. It's absolutely enjoyable, and I loved the Nemesis system. But, as I said, I'm a story-based game, and I have to be honest. But for my gameplay aspect, from the Nemesis system aspect, this game is worth every penny. But, as I say, for my final verdict, I have to say that at the moment, Shadows of Mordor, Middle-earth Shadows of Mordor, is not worth picking up brand new. I would definitely say wait for it to drop in price a little bit. Maybe wait a month or two for it to drop price. Not half price. If it goes down to, like, I got it on PS4. If you can get it for anywhere between £25 to £30, I would definitely say pick it up. But other than that, I'd have to say wait for it to drop down in price. Or maybe rent it first before you buy it, I have to be honest. If you can get it for a decent price, pick it up. But overall, I did enjoy Shadows of Mordor, but just the story let it down so much, in my opinion, that I have to give it a not worth it rating. I feel so bad for doing it, but I have to be honest, and I have to say that if you're a story-based gamer, I have to say wait for it to go down in price. But if you're a gameplay one, go pick it up right this minute. It is an absolute blast. It lived up to the hype when it comes to the gameplay and the Nemesis system. That hype lived up to it. But the story hype just did not live up to it. And it's just not as good as it could have been, in my opinion. Especially the ending, I have to say. And I will do a whole video talking about the ending and why I done that full-on spoiler video after this one. But I definitely have to be honest. So I thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. If you want to keep up with my videos, don't hesitate to check out, click that subscribe button. And also, if you've played Shadows of Mordor, and no spoilers, or you will be or the comment will be removed. Let me know what your thoughts are on Shadows of Mordor, and was it worth it to you? Answer that question. Is it worth it to you? For me, the story, it did make it worth it. So I'll end things there. Thanks for watching. As always, I'm Scottish Warrior 92. I'll see you all next time. Ciao for now. Hey there, thank you for watching the video. I hope you enjoyed it, regardless of whatever the video topic was about, because I know I'm a complete lot of tit sometimes. If you want to check out any of my other further content, all you have to do is click on the little Scottish Warrior 92 thing down the bottom there to take you to the channel, and check out the rest of my videos. If you want to follow me on my social media, it's just Scottish Warrior 92 everywhere else. And also, if you want to help support the channel, all you have to do is pop in the link in the description to my Patreon page, patreon.com/Scottish Warrior 92, in which if you feel like my content is worth it, you can donate $1 a month to help continue to support this channel and help me make this into a full-time gig. Feel free to go check out the Patreon page to make sure it is to your liking and you actually want to spend $1 a month on this shitty channel. Thank you for watching. Again, as always, I am Scottish Warrior 92, and I hope you'll stick around and maybe even join the clan by clicking that subscribe button. Thank you. Mwah.